Picture a Shaolin monk standing on one leg atop a tall wooden post, being pelted by wind and rain, but nonetheless maintaining perfect balance for 30 whole minutes. Now picture the half hour after you get home from work, in which your attention is darting around like an anxious puppy. You got missed calls from family, one more email to clear, texts from friends, DMs from Instagram, discounts from stores in your inbox, chicken to marinate, new series from Netflix, that guitar you got for Christmas, daily login bonuses from video games, the chapter of Atomic Habits you promised yourself you'd read. It never stops. Unless you learn to stop. But that sounds difficult, right? You've probably tried meditating at least once, but that became just another item on the list, right? And besides, when you did try it, you found that your mind in silence was even more chaotic than the world of distractions. Whether you approach meditation for just a little stress relief, or whether you're interested in full-blown spiritual awakening, you need to establish what I call minimum effective focus. And this is actually important for anything worth doing in life. If people are getting promoted over your head at work, lack of focus could be why. If you can't get dates, lack of focus could be why. If your progress is stalled at the gym, lack of focus could be why. But most importantly, if you've ever thought you can't meditate, lack of focus is almost certainly why. I'm here to help you with that, and it won't take as long as you might think. My name is Dan Goldfield. I was given teaching lineage to the Buddha in 2018, but I'm not Buddhist, and nor was the Buddha. I'm here to teach you to realize natural, effortless happiness, which, fortunately, transcends religion, culture, and philosophy. In many traditions, meditators spend years developing focus, aka meditative stability. But since you're here, you don't have to, which I suspect sounds like good news, because if you're like 99.99% of people in the 21st century, you don't feel you have that kind of time. Most modern practitioners want to skip the training bit and get to the insight. Insight is the fruit of meditation, the juicy bit. Insight is the difference between lighting your incense, sitting in your special posture, ringing your bell, and doing some weird breathing technique just to begin to calm down, versus simply seeing that meditative stability is your default mode and that you don't have to do anything to access it. There are slow ways to get insight, and there are fast ways to get insight. Here, we focus on the fast ways. The slow ways aren't bad. They definitely have their advantages, but you're not interested in them, and that's okay now. That said, if you can't focus with at least a little stability for at least 5 minutes, well, you're kind of fucked, and not just in meditation. We got to fix that. Now, pay attention, because this is super important. You do not have to silence your mind in meditation. Thoughts arise naturally, like the sound of the leaves rustling in the wind. You experience your thoughts as more significant than the sound of the leaves, and that's one of the main reasons spiritual practice is necessary at all. In taking your thoughts to be significant, you react to them. You suppress them, indulge them, or act on them. Suppressing them leads to anxiety. Indulging them leads to distraction. Acting on them leads to all kinds of trouble. What you're going to learn to do here is just leave them the fuck alone. We're not aiming for deep trance states. We just need you to be able to settle down a bit so that not only you're better off in all areas of life, you're more capable of doing what you got to do at work, you're more capable of being present with other people, but also so that you can see the kinds of things that you want to see in meditation or in spiritual practice in general. In other words, so that you can see the kinds of things about yourself and reality that lead to liberation, to freedom, to effortless happiness, to clarity, to wisdom, to compassion. So, close your eyes with me. If you're not already in a quiet spot, feel free to pause the video. Get yourself somewhere where you won't be disturbed. Kill your phone and take 3 long, slow, deep breaths while I continue to teach. You've likely heard people encouraging these long, slow, deep breaths before. They have a physiological benefit. They actually change the chemistry in your brain and body. This is observable. When you take a long, slow, deep breath, you calm down, even if only a little. This is useful for focus. When you're stressed, anxious, agitated, it's very difficult to focus. In the extreme, you're in fight or flight mode, meaning you're looking to hit something or you're looking to run. That's not what we want for the kind of focus that we're talking about here. We want relaxation, rest, and so these long, slow, deep breaths set the scene. And you can continue with that rhythm of breathing if it's comfortable. If not, return to a more ordinary rhythm. And place your attention on the sensations of breathing. Explore all of the different sensations that are present when you breathe. You will have sensations of air moving at the tip of the nose, around the nostrils, inside the nostrils, and into the air pipe. You'll feel that air going all the way down into your throat. And the other prominent sensation that you'll experience is the rising and falling of the abdomen. At least this is what you'll experience when you're breathing in a relaxed way. You may notice that your chest is moving more than your abdomen. If that's the case, you're holding tension in your abdomen. See if you can release that tension. In a relaxed pattern of breathing, the abdomen moves first, and then only if you fill the lungs all the way up will the chest and shoulders move. So if you're breathing deep, you may experience some of that. Otherwise, it may just be the abdomen. Now, as we explore these various sensations, what I want you to do is see if any of these sensations stand out to you. In other words, see if any of these sensations are easier to rest your attention on. Thoughts will likely be continuing to do their thing. That's fine. If and when you notice that you're completely distracted, which is more and more likely the less I speak, though indeed you could be completely distracted even as I speak to you, but it's usually in silence that people find themselves falling down rabbit holes of thought, daydreaming, fantasizing, thinking about what's for dinner or a conversation that was had earlier in the day. If and when you notice that you're distracted, acknowledge this noticing as successful practice. This may not sound significant, this may not sound to you like a success. But it is the key to gaining mastery over your whole experience. Acknowledging that noticing as a success sets up a positive reinforcement, an upward spiral, if you like, whereby this practice becomes enjoyable. This is very important. If this practice feels like a chore, you're not going to do it enough to develop this minimum effective focus. But if you enjoy it, well, like everything you enjoy, you're going to want to do it. When you want to do it, you'll do it frequently. When you do it frequently, you will establish that minimum effective focus, which is the prerequisite for all of the other wonderful benefits, not only of meditation, of mindfulness, of insight practices, but of pretty much anything worth doing. So once again, placing your attention on whatever sensation of breathing you find easiest to apprehend. Now, if you can't decide on one sensation to focus on, just pick something. If you find that the abdomen and the nose are equally easy to focus on or equally difficult to focus on, well, just pick one and stick with it for the rest of this video. In the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you choose what here is called an object of meditation, something to focus on, something to keep returning your attention to, and use that kind of like an anchor. Your mind being the boat that drifts off, the meditation object being the anchor that keeps it coming back. Again, when you notice that you're distracted, acknowledge that noticing as successful practice. Then return to your meditation object. If this seems boring, yes, it does seem boring. And that's kind of the whole point. If you are someone who struggles to focus for 5 minutes at a time, you're living in a world of distraction. Distraction is gratifying. It's novel. That's why it works. By coming to this video, and I hope you'll come back, you're going in the opposite direction. You are, in a way of speaking, taking back control of your mind, taking back control of yourself. We'll talk later about why those terms are provisional, but for now they're good enough. This practice is all you need to establish that minimum effective focus, such that you can start to get a look at what's going on in the mind, in the emotions, in your circumstances, in your relationships, in your work, with at least some kind of steadiness, without being distracted every 15 seconds. I hope I've made a strong enough case for why this is beneficial. Of course, you can use this video as a reference material, but if you feel confident enough to practice on your own, I will include some short instructions in the video description. They won't take much to memorize, and then you can simply keep practicing. Don't have to return to the video each time, but if you find the guidance useful, then please come and enjoy this meditation with me as many times as you like. If indeed you liked this guided practice, then give the video a like. If you really liked it, hit subscribe. If you really, really liked it, hit the notification bell. I will be uploading videos just like this every day. If you feel like sharing, leave me a comment. Let me know how this practice went for you. And if you want to dive deeper, if you want to start getting into some of that juicy insight right away, then check the link in the description to my Effortless Happiness Insight Generator, where you'll find 18 questions that act as intellectual meditations to begin to get you contemplating some of the kinds of things that lead to the kinds of insight that's been available for thousands of years in these wonderful wisdom traditions, and that people like myself now represent in plain language, absent of the religious, cultural, and philosophical baggage that they are often associated with. I hope to see you again. I'll be back tomorrow.